Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Yap session where today I will be talking about how to improve at Tekken 8. Now, before you say anything, yes, it is going to involve fundamentals. Involve fundamentals because this game is built off fundamentals, as every other fighting game is. This idea struck me when I was playing in my tourney a few days ago, and I faced a Fujin June player. Not really remembering the matchup of what June does and her frames. I just played my typical poke slash reactive with a bit of mix-ups playstyle because it's always a safe route. And props to the June player for playing in tourneys. However, I quickly dissected her playstyle and move selection and got the win, even though it was only a first to two environment. Tekken is a very complex fighting game where it's not just rock, paper, scissors. It's the same three options. There's so many more options to consider. Many players I have seen quickly shut down once you don't mash into their frame traps. And sometimes sidewalk, because they're not used to it. And defense is arguably the best offense. Yes, it's a cliche, however, it is 100% true. Building off the point of players shutting down after their frame traps don't work, some characters do have plus unblocked ship damage moves, which they could spam theoretically and, frame trap you. Like Dragunov's while running 2, Dragunov's QC forward 4, Electric Wind Godfist, and other while running moves like Shaheen while running 2. But moving from while running moves, let's just talk about poking. Going low has its risks and its rewards. You could get blocked / slow parried in your plus frames, and now they have the advantage since they block correctly. So how would you get around somebody just blocking your low or low parrying your low? Well, you would be getting around a fuzzy guard, which I've explained in a previous video, so go watch that if you are interested about it or don't understand it. But the situation is, my lows always get blocked. My mids always get blocked. Well, as you know, someone can't low block and stand block at the same time. So you're quickly, they're either A, guessing correctly every single time, which is pretty hard to do, but it is possible, or they're reading you like a book, which can happen. And once you're easier to read, which no offense to the June player, I was reading what she was doing and just countering, and since they didn't know how to really answer to the situation, I was just winning all the interactions. So how to get through a fuzzy guard? You have to find the exact opening where your opponent isn't holding the guard button for that certain move. For example, down back or down forward. You wouldn't want to use a low when they're inputting that. Same with the opening where if you want to land a mid or a high, your opponent isn't just stand blocking, because the mid or high would get blocked. Even the startup of a move being one frame too early, for example 20 frames, and your opponent was holding down back for 19 frames, it could give them the opportunity to still block it. It does sound impossible thinking about it this technical. However, it is possible though. And telling you to polish your frames, beating the same nail over the head, was pushing you guys towards the hopefully learning more about this advanced topic, which is getting to a good guard. So let me try to explain hitting the opponent is an obvious way to open up a fuzzy guard. Well, obviously, but how do I hit the opponent? Well, for me, speaking for myself, the first few rounds of a player, any player, is to understand the opponent. Not even the first set, the first few rounds. I'm not trying to fuzzy guard a parry. I'm not trying to show my defensive options what I'm going to do. Let's say I sidestep after a while running move, and I may step their retaliation. I may just hold block. I might fuzzy a parry. I might fuzzy a low. I might do whatever. just to show them, you know, what I might do. Because this is building their mental load of what will happen next time, or can they do this in this frame situation next time? Because if they do that, maybe I'll try this, and then I could beat their next time option. If you're following. So, for example, I let them do a low, and then they do the same low, and they hit. In their head, okay, that low works if I do it twice in a row. So, you know, maybe next set or maybe next round, I'll block it or low parry or, you know, low crush it. To see how people react. Because if you show one answer and you don't have the other answers to beat their other options, for example, jab into a low, you know, the way to counter that would be after the jab, you would do a low crush, like a hop kick, to crush their low. Or what if they don't do a low next time and they'll block your hop kick? Okay, well, I'm a float. I'm a jab after my jab to frame trap, and I float your hop kick. Round one. Well, I jab into a slower move, and you do a faster move and keep me out. Even though it was only +1, the frame situation can be played so many different ways. But however, not to overwhelm you, hopefully, with all these outcomes, there is a possibility that the safest option can be beaten. Like I said, a jab into a jab. The most extreme situation I could think of is you jab, your opponent steps your next jab, which frame traps your jab, and then they hop kick, electric, or down forward 2 to punish you. Which it's a pretty tight window, however, it is possible. And you end up launched after a simple situation where you thought you were safe. This prevents autopiloting. We're doing one option. If you do one option, you know, depending on what level you're at, what level your opponent's at, your opponent can react. And that's why I like playing a reactive style. I like to react to what my opponent's like doing. So that pushes away them from wanting to do autopilot moves. However, you know, players sometimes don't have another option and they just keep on doing the same option, running the same, you know, try to run the same answer and getting the problem wrong, but they keep on doing it because that's all they know. Or maybe they just stop and, you know, then you can start running your offense on them. You know, that's what I meant by hitting the opponent. So, and hitting the opponent could also mean punishing the opponent. Because if you block what they do and you punish them, you're not getting hit, but you're hitting them. If that makes sense. That's why offense and defense, you know, is pretty even, I would say, excluding heat things. And that may push the opponent, going back to the jab, into jab frame trap. This pushes away the idea to frame trap your jab with another jab. Because, oh, I got launch, you know, let me not do that again. So, getting hit lowers your opponent's HP, obviously, and stacks the mental load. The frame situation in neutral can be played in so many ways, and I hopefully showed how complex it can really be. Jab into jab can also be high crushed, punch parried, and sidestepped. So why would you do a jab into a jab? Well, it beats mashing, one of the most common options. Or if someone chose a less common option, will you be prepared to beat a less common option, or will you just continue to, okay, jab into jab? Oh, why am I not frame trapping my jab? Or why is my, you know, jab losing? I'm supposed to be +1. This is supposed to be able to win, you know, mash, or, you know, sidestepping or punch parry. But there's a lot of defensive options and there's a lot of offensive options, which, you know, timing can impact every single one of these defensive / offensive options. And, you know, building off the jab to jab situation, let's say you are the one jabbing and then you end up holding back. You react if it's hopefully reactable, or you sense a low coming, so you know, or you fuzzy guard and then you block low, and then your opponent hits into your low block and then you punish. You know, that would hopefully condition the opponent not to do the same option. However, if you know your opponent is showing the same option, just keep on punishing them, because they're not gonna randomly beat your random option unless they're just holding some, you know, secret answer or something. But let's say next time they hop kick, like I said, try to low press you, they beat you technically, but they could have lost to so many other situations. They could have lost to a block, they could have just lost to a float, they could have just lost to a you know, not a punch parry, but just, you know, not ducking, holding back, or floating them before the hop kick, you know, beats you. And so next time you think they're gonna respect you, your jab, but instead they do a jab or something. That's when you have the situation where they're jabbing at you, and now what can you do when they're jabbing at you? You get punch parry, you get whatever. It's such a complex game where, you know, if you're not thinking about all the options about what you can do to win, and just using the same few options that you have, or just stick to, you're not gonna really grow as a player in the higher levels. So this video, you know, concluding it, is to really explore your other options. And yes, it can be difficult, it can be very taxing, but you know, if you really do want to get as a better player, I feel like you should explore all these options, because this game rewards defensive play, whether streamers and YouTubers are telling you not. It definitely does, but it's not easy. You know, being on the offensive is not easy. Being on the defensive is not easy, but it's still, you know, equal grounds, I would say, excluding heat usage, of course, because he breaks like punch parries, he breaks armor, he breaks, you know, they're usually pretty fast as well, and plus I'm locked, so. But in my opinion, the defender has the better options of guessing, especially if you're considering all the other options. Now, if you don't know all the options, I would say it's about equal ground. Obviously, it's just who lab better, who has the better options, you know, and better reads. That's why many pro players jab into like a sidestep duck, because that would be, you know, retaliation, keep out attempts, low crush attempts, hop kicks, because it's a fuzzy low. So they fuzzy a low parry, fuzzy a low block, but then they get back up. You know, they're trying to consider what they're trying to do. And also tempo. Whoever has the tempo will naturally have better options. However, if you haven't experienced tempo yet, I wouldn't stress about it too much. But it's basically who is winning these rounds very, you know, clearly. Because clearly winning over the opponent, they're gonna start getting desperate trying to win. So if they try to do the same thing, you're just gonna beat them, as you've shown in previous rounds. So this game does function like rock paper scissors. However, there's so many more options that it's not just 3 options. That's why I try to say it's not like rock paper scissors. You have so many more options that beat other options. But anyways, this video is coming to an end. My mental load is stacked trying to explain it. If you guys enjoy, like and subscribe, and see you guys later.